Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Nyasha and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me today is a guest who, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I dropped the ball. Okay. I dropped the ball. Like, he was one of our most popular guests in 2021. And I was looking at this guy's success this year. I was like, you know what? He'd never want to come. And then he was like, bro, why have I not been on this year? And I was like, you know what? I fucked it. I fucked up. So that's on me. But one of my most popular guests from 2021, the Travon Free. How are you doing, bro?
What's good, man? I'm good, man. I'm happy to be back in the house.
No, look, I'm sorry. I kept you out of the house. Like that's on me. I'll put that on my shoulders. That's absolutely fun. Man, you've had, since I've spoken to you, well, I guess even since like you came for dinner, you've been like super busy. You've been producing. I know you've done the Linsanity project, and that's been at film festivals and like getting really good reviews. I guess like
we got shortlisted today for the Oscars.
Oh shit! No way!
Yeah, today.
No way! That's incredible. Which category?
Documentary short.
No way! Wow! You're trying to go 2 for 2 now.
I'm trying, man. We'll see what happens.
Oh wow! No, congratulations! How's life been for you? I guess you must be like really happy to. I've seen all like the reviews and I've seen all the articles, but I guess to be shortlisted for the Oscars, that's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. It's been a great year, man. I've been so busy, promoting the Jeremy Lin doc all summer, 30th at the Garden, and then finishing up our Bishop Sycamore documentary that comes out next year, a football documentary. And then like writing like 3 different movies, man. Like it's been a hell of a year, but it's been so much fun, man. So much fun.
So I guess within all of that, have you still been able to keep up with F1? I guess has that still been on your radar?
Yeah, man. I followed the whole season. It was kind of one of my. It's hard to say joys of the year because it was not fun.
No joy, no fun.
I kept coming back every weekend, but it was not fun until it got a little more fun on the back half. But it wasn't a very fun season, to be honest. It was one I can put in the rearview mirror very quickly.
Yeah, I think you speak for a lot of us, right? We all, and I think we mentioned it on the pod the other day. We were like, we spoke to you, I think, after Abu Dhabi last year, the last time on the pod, right? And you were like, this is set up for an incredible story. This could be Lewis's kind of, in every story there is the down part, right? The protagonist has that setback, and then it's all set up for them to come back from that. So we were all kind of expecting 2022 to be the Lewis get back season, and it was
not that. And the W13 said, "Hold my beer." That thing said, "Not today, man.
Not today, not this month, not this year,
not this season." Better luck next year. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
You couldn't have asked for a worse start. And I mean, it's funny. It's hard to say worse because like even with as shitty as the W13 was, the team was consistent in the beginning of the season. Like, Red Bull had some reliability issues. Ferrari had some reliability issues and some crashes. But we were like consistently 4th and 5th with good reliability, which, made it even possible to have the finish of the season for George to be fucking 3rd, like to be as close as they were for the duration of the season. Like, so, hats off to Mercedes for being able to make a reliable car.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Fast is another story. But yeah, man, I don't think anyone saw that. You know what? It was one of those things that reminds you that just life isn't fair. Life isn't
Life
fair.
isn't fair. I said this, Travon, I think at the beginning of this season when the car was bad, and I said, karma is not real. Like the idea we have of karma, and I do believe in karma. I believe in karma in the sense that, well, I used to. If you put good out into the world, it will come back to you, right? I've never believed in karma in the sense of, if I do a good deed, then that good deed will come back to me, right? It's just like if you put out the good energy, then good energy will come back to you. And obviously, if you constantly put out bad energy, then at some point that will come back to bite you in the ass, right? But I think the 2022 F1 season absolutely ruined any notions of that theory completely, right? Because you would think after last season, and I guess you have to initially, I mean, although there's a cost cap theory, or cost cap issue, Red Bull built a car even though they were in a title fight, and I guess now we know why they were able to. Red Bull built where they were able to fight for the championship and Mercedes weren't. So I guess off the back of the disappointment of last season, I guess this season must have felt even more, I guess, turgid.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you think about the fact that you keep finding out Red Bull just cheats, man. Like they just cheat and there's no consequences for it. No real consequences for it. It's like, by so many standards, you should have 2 championships revoked. And yet,
yes.
And yet nothing happens. It's like, oh no, that one was a human error. Oh, this one is we're actually gonna give it to you early, even though like it's so transparent. It's so transparent. And that's the part that's crazy to me. And like it really did make you go, oh, life isn't fair.
Yeah.
Like how does this happen? How does the W13 not be the Red Bull's car?
Right.
For 20, you would, that's what the story. I mean, look, then Lewis still has time on his contracts. Maybe we're still in that period where, Rocky is trying to fight his way back.
And we're still in the montage.
And maybe this narrative ends with back-to-back Lewis championships. Who knows? You can hope for, you hope the narrative doesn't end the way it ends, because it's not great for the sport. And Red Bull doesn't care that they have 2 tainted championships. Like they go on under the protection of the FIA doing whatever they want, and with no real repercussions from, oh, you lost some wind tunnel time, blah, whatever.
Right. And I think I watched the FIFA documentary on Netflix the other day. I don't know if you've seen it, but essentially it detailed the corruption that kind of went through the whole of the football governing body, and it is specifically how they awarded World Cups, right? And I watched that and I just thought the corruption that was so barefaced and in everyone's faces, there were so many things that were so similar to the FIA. In 1978, FIFA awarded the World Cup, I think, to Argentina in the midst of a genocidal dictatorship. then they awarded it, if you fast forward some years, they awarded it to Russia in 2018. They awarded it to Qatar, obviously, this year, and of all of the controversies around that. But within that was just this quite clear kind of open corruption that I feel F1 fans have been looking at, especially since the back end of 21, right? The stewarding decisions in Brazil, in Saudi Arabia, in Abu Dhabi, obviously, with everything that went on with that, the fact that we were racing in, well, it must be Saudi Arabia, right, when there was a terrorist attack on a on an oil depot, down the road. And I guess I say all of this to ask, how much faith do you have, I guess, in F1 as a sport? And I guess as a sub-context to that, how much is, I guess, Lewis a big part of whatever, I guess, faith or interest that you have in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I've lost tremendous faith in the governing body of Formula One, and it's their own fault, Like I can't. They do such a poor job of regulating the sport and making you believe that they care about fairness and equality in the sport, and it's Lewis's presence is the reason why, for the most part, I even pay attention as closely as I do now.
Yeah, of course.
As busy as things get, because you hope that, he can find himself in a position where you're so good or so much better than your competition that they can't cheat you out of it. Like it would be too obvious, right?
Yeah.
And so it makes you feel like, oh, the sport's kind of rigged against certain people, and we know who those people are, and we know who the sport favors, and we know what things are policed and what things aren't. And it makes you feel like anything outside of a standard race result could be for any reason. It could be anything that's slightly controversial. You don't know what to believe because you don't have faith in the people who are supposed to be upholding the rules. When you have a sport where you can go, we have rules on the book, and the race director broke those rules, and we've declared that the champion was a result of human error, but we're not going to give the title to the person who would have won it had that human error not occurred, had the rules not been misrepresented or broken. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, basically, like, what are we here for? Essentially,
if Lewis had won the race that way, what would have happened?
Well, I mean, I would have loved to have seen the same kind of almost. Again, I don't want to bring it back to football too much, but I find the equivalent to a referee like giving a bad call on a play, like quite almost like offensive, because a referee might make a bad call, but at least that's within an interpretation of the rules, right? But to make up a whole new rule or to make up a whole new thing, like it's not good. I'm gonna just. Thandie's actually here. I wasn't even expecting her to be here, but she is here. I'm so happy to see her. Here she is. But I guess while she's getting set up, here she is. Hi, Thandie.
Hi.
Hey.
Nice to meet you. Hi. Hi, guys.
In the house.
Thandie's with us now. Hi, Thandie. How you doing? You all right?
You just pronounced my name. Are you okay?
I said Thandie.
Did you say Thandie?
And please respect me. Like, please. Like, we're from the same country. I would never do that. That's crazy. I have a like an auntie. You know them aunties in Zimbabwe who are younger than you because your dad's been philanthroping wherever he's been. So I've got an auntie who's younger than me called Thandie. So I would never say Thandie.
Okay.
Anyway, correct version of the name. How are you? You okay?
I'm good. How many minutes in are you? What were you been talking about?
I was hoping that you wouldn't make that clear, but we're about 20 minutes in. We're about 20 minutes in. So what I was talking about with Travon was the FIA and a kind of like a lack of trust with the FIA. And just so you guys know, this was pre-recorded before this time of the year because, you know, we're at this time of the year when you're listening to this, not going to lie to you, I'm on holiday, I'm drunk, Thandie's on holiday, she's drunk. Travon's probably enjoying himself somewhere as well. So we've pre-recorded this. But what's happened recently is the FIA have put a ban on any political statements that you are able to make, whether that's, for example, Lewis on the podium with T-shirts, helmets. I guess that might include rainbow helmets, for example, that Lewis has been running pretty much all year, I think I want to say. Obviously, Vettel's left now and everything was fine when Vettel was there. But I guess if anyone takes up the mantle of environmental issues, then, you know, they won't be allowed to do that. So, Thandie, I'll come to you in a second. But Travon, I guess going off the back of what we were saying earlier, how does this make the sport of, not even how it makes it look, I guess, what does this mean for like a sport like F1 where you can't make any political statements? They're essentially saying, shut up and dribble, as NBA players have been told, and you know, and so forth. Like, I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it really puts into perspective, we race as one is bullshit, right? You might as well just go strip that off of every car and every garage and wherever they stick those stickers, because you clearly want the sport to be this. I mean, what it really boils down to is money. They don't want people recognizing the fact that they race in countries that are pretty terrible. And they don't want people reminding them that they race in countries that are pretty terrible, the United States included. And and so you have the most visible athlete in the sport, the most visible driver in the sport in Lewis Hamilton, the most famous driver in the sport, who also happens to be the most political driver in the sport. And in what ways can you limit his reach and his voice, right? You tell him you can't wear your nose ring. You tell him you can't make political statements without our permission. And it's so transparent and so obvious. Yeah. And it's funny when you see guys like Will Buxton tweeting, "Oh, I didn't realize this is what they were really trying to do." It's like, how? Yeah, because you're white. Of course you don't.
You're white.
Yeah, like you don't.
Travon, I have missed you on here. Bloody hell, I missed him. Talk your shit. Go on.
But yeah, it's like if you've never been in the position of someone who's had their rights restricted or their ability to move freely through any space taken away, of course you're going to think they just want to regulate jewelry because it's the quote unquote rule. Or how many other drivers wear nose rings or earrings when they drive?
That's me.
It's crazy. I'm actually going to... I'm sorry. I'll see Thandie.
Sorry, I was just going to say, when I saw it, I was literally like... I felt like I was looking at Lewis and being like, I think they're talking about you. You know what I mean? Like, they might as well have said, Lewis Hamilton, you are not allowed to do this.
Yeah.
Because all the headlines, who were they going to pick for the picture? You've written the article. You've been asked, right, what picture do we attach to this? Oh, just add Lewis. You can only add Lewis Hamilton to that because you can't add anyone else. So they might as well have just said, Lewis Hamilton, you aren't allowed to do A, B, C, and D.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's... So after you, Travon.
I was gonna say they're just like, get me that picture of Lewis with the Breonna Taylor shirt. Slap it on his arm.
Right. And the mad thing is, that T-shirt was in 2020, and then they said, you know what? You can't take T-shirts onto the podium. So it's already been decided that he can't do that. But now they've literally like clamped down on it. It feels, I'm not gonna lie to you, Sebastian Vettel was allowed to go up and down that grid, talking about the fact that we're going to drown under our own global warming the whole season. It was his whole fucking farewell tour, okay? Like, respectfully. And I love that. I love that. Seb, get it in, please. And also, let's not forget also, Seb was, alongside Lewis, a really big advocate for LGBTQ plus rights. Like that is like an actual thing. We can always, whatever we want to clown Seb or whatever, but at least he was like a vocal and almost, you could say, front-footed on that, no matter how you might think of whatever he thinks about that. My issue is, Lewis Hamilton wore a fucking nose ring, and they were like, the whole season they were going back and forth on that. The moment Seb Vettel leaves, it's not even January yet. Like, the Aston Martin haven't even seat fitted Fernando Alonso. Like, and already they're like, hey, any more political shit is done.
If you even try anything political next, if you
even think about it,
try it.
Think on that little t-shirt.
You.
Like, I can't, honestly, and I think that's, and I'm going to read Will Buxton's statement out. Chris, I'll send this to you. It's funny. I'm going to show this to the screen. I didn't even know that you were under here, Travon. I just went on it. And for those who are on the audio, Travon is the first reply that I see. And that's how you know, yeah? He backs up his shit. Like, Travon's not just saying things to say things. He's about that, and he's actually saying that. So Will Buxton says, will freely admit I'm now regretting my stance earlier in the year that I believed in the FIA was right in its vehemence over the jury issue. I believe they were merely trying to uphold the rules, not, as it now seems, attempting to curtail freedoms we took for granted. Will Buxton didn't say anything when the FIA banned Lewis Hamilton from wearing t-shirts on a podium. Will Buxton has continuously tried to peddle, as I was talking to you about, Travon, earlier, about the referee myth, making a mistake in Abu Dhabi. Will Buxton, but this is big, that Will Buxton, who is respectfully, Will, we love what you do, an F1 FIA shill, essentially. Will Buxton is like a ticket inspector. Like, someone who has like a job they ride for, which is like a horrible job, but they do it with pride. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the ticket inspector on the train, you might have a child ticket even though you're an adult, he's there giving you a fine. The parking inspector, you might have parked at your mum's house when you're not supposed to park there, he's giving you a fine. That's Will Buxton. Anyway, I just feel like it's a big thing for him to say that. But also, I just think it's crazy that the FIA can be so blatant in their targeting of one driver. And I guess for you guys, with the sport trying to reach a younger audience, and they're trying to make drivers be more than drivers. We've got Drive to Survive. Drivers have personalities. Drivers have feelings. Do you guys think it's a backward step, I guess, this decision from the FIA?
Formula One is honestly the most awful sport on the planet. It's just glamorized and wrapped in tinfoil and wrapped in glamour that we don't clock it. It is essentially the worst sport. Like, everything about it, the rules, the people running it, the people in it, everything about it's awful. So this is literally the cherry on top of saying it's essentially where people go around in a circuit. Do you know what I mean? We aren't allowed to kind of say, oh, this is wrong. We're not allowed to wear t-shirts or go against anything. We're not allowed to say something's wrong. We're not allowed to say something's right. We're not allowed to talk against something. We're not allowed to, we have to come into meetings. Do you know what I mean? And I think this is kind of what Seb Vettel was kind of trying to come across that, listen, this sport is not what it used to be when I was there. And I think that's kind of what was Seb's last year of his legacy. And it's so unfortunate that the most political person on that grid, the one person who has a backbone, is the one person who's going to get all the fall. I think it's very telling of the drivers who are actually on the grid at the moment, very privileged, very much people who've never had to come out and fight against something because it never felt that kind of disadvantage. And when you take on a sport or an environment like that, it's so unfortunate for Lewis Hamilton. And I think that is just the essential ethos of being kind of team LH at the same time, that we do stand this driver, but he has these certain ethics and he has these certain likabilities and credibilities and movements that he works around, that he is more than just a racer within that sport. He is literally a political statement that they are constantly, since I would say 2020, have been just trying to stifle more and more and more and more. And the more that this driver is not on top or is losing races, it's easier for them to do it because the less they think the crowd will care for Lewis. But as long as Team LH gets stronger, you know, they can't stifle us all. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. I do think there's something to be said about F1 trying to stifle, I guess, individualism in an age where the individualism is what is helping to grow the sport. Travon, how does F1, I guess 2023, you've got a magic wand, right? And you can fix the sport. However you want, you can fix the sport. How would you know, we've come off the back of a season which has been, let's just say, not as exciting as the season before. You know, we've had a dominant car. The races haven't been as close, you know, in terms of we've not had surprise winners. Only person outside of the top three on the podium was Lando Norris. So if you had a magic wand, how would you fix F1 going into the new year?
You know, I'd probably get rid of all the people running it and start with a group of new people, you know, like get some people who aren't so conflicted in their interests over where races happen and, you know, who gets to do and say what, like, because it seems like that's always the issue, right? Where you have stewards who like have Honda dealerships that are overseeing a sport where Honda's a part of the sport, and the team with the Honda engine seems to always be benefiting from
well, Travon, I don't know if you know, but Honda actually was supposed to have left the sport. But if you look at the team names, next year it's Honda Red Bull powertrains. So, you know.
Yeah. I wonder how that happens.
Option.
So I think that's what I would do. I would start by wiping the slate clean.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mean, look, we were doing an award show a couple of weeks ago, and I think we had like a most disliked or most unlikable person, whatever. But I do want to shout out Mohammed. I can't remember his whole name. Let me get his whole name just to be respectful before I disrespect him. But the FIA president, because I just think that Mohammed Ben Sulayem, that's the guy. So I just think there was an opportunity for F1 with a new president. We had Jean Todt, Ferrari, old school, whatever, right? And there was an opportunity for F1 to come into a new age with a new president, with new ways of thinking. And what we've got from the new president is failing to overturn Abu Dhabi 2021, the jewelry ban, which is bullshit, making everyone race in Saudi Arabia when there was like quite clear terrorist violence, like down the
rockets going on,
right? We've got the Red Bull cost cap lenient penalty that they got after the end of all of that. And now this political statements kind of thing. So there's 5 things that I could think off the top of my head that they've done wrong and been on the wrong side of history. So I guess, Thandie, as like someone who I would say probably represents younger fans a lot more than I do because I am old, I guess with the way that F1's going at the moment, I guess if the racing continues to be as bad as it is, does F1 continue its trajectory going forward because I guess of the documentary and or is there or does there need to be a better kind of leadership of motorsport in general?
There needs to be with more young people. There is more political statements.
Yeah.
There was an article in the Financial Times this year which detailed how millennial and boomer employers are intimidated in employing Gen Zs because they bring this kind of let's all quit our jobs kind of movement. They bring a certain atmosphere into it.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, exactly. That whole jobs for life thing that millennials had, or not even millennials, boomers had, is gone, right? And Gen Z are happy to call out malpractice and leave a job as soon as they can. Yeah,
exactly. So there's gonna be an extent that when the circus does come into town, whether it's Florida, Miami, whether it's Austin, whether it's the UK, when the circus does come into town, people are gonna continue to question why there is no female toilets, why there is no gender neutral toilets, why all the engineers seem to be white and there is no actual woman on the grid. And if they continue in that trajectory, it's just going to go and it's going to throw up in their face. So yes, you can stifle people, but as the world keeps moving on, we will definitely Elon Musk you. And then, you've been kicked out of your own job and you've only been here for 30 days. That's embarrassing. Do you know what I mean?
Very embarrassing.
I definitely agree with Travon in the sense that you really have to just start at the core, and it is literally just kicking out the people in charge and really looking at the basis and this the ABC of it all before you actually go into how we can change drivers' mentalities. It's literally the people who are telling these drivers what to do, what to wear, and allowing them to kind of join Formula One before after F2. So
it's
go on.
I was going to say, it's almost like with FIFA where they had the World Cup in Qatar and obviously all of the controversy, and they were they would not allow any of the players to have the armbands. They wouldn't allow any kind of protest, and they're concentrate on the football. And I think F1 are trying to do that, right? Especially because they go to places, and I don't even really want to get into it like that because, as much as we talk about Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and other areas that we may, China that was on the circuit, Russia was on the circuit, and they got taken off, and whatever. The places that everyone goes where you can look at the human rights issues. At the end of the day, I live in fucking the UK, the fucking originators of slavery and colonialism. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Travon, you're from America, and we all know how America get down. So, we can't. I almost feel so hypocritical. I feel hypocritical saying things like that. And I always want to just make sure that I'm very aware of where I am, where I grew up, the country I'm from. But F1 goes to places which are notoriously bad for sports washing.
That's
right?
Big money.
Exactly. Qatar, sports washing. Saudi Arabia, sports washing.
There's a rocket flying over you, but do you know how much money we're going to make? today.
They made those drivers. They said, "Hey, you better get back in those cars."
Yeah.
Or good luck getting on the plane home. Like honestly. So I guess Travon, as we round third base, I guess with the way, and I didn't even expect this to get political, but we're here now. I guess F1's gone down a road of being very much to the highest bidder. If you give us money, you can have a race. They were considering getting rid of Monaco at one point. They were considering getting rid of Belgium at one point. You know, historical F1 races for, you know, places where they're going to spend £20 million, £30 million to host a race. Does that really affect F1 in a way? I guess, can F1 just, you know, I guess in a contrast to the question I asked you earlier, can F1 just carry on as it is? You can't make political statements. We're going to go to places which are going to court controversy, and we're just going to carry on as is. Can that carry on, I guess, in 2023 and beyond?
The reason why I would say, yeah, it can is because majority of their fans are white people who don't care. And when you have people who genuinely don't care about the issues or don't care about, it's like American sports. It's like people who, like when Kaepernick was kneeling and it was like, all the white dudes were mad at him because he was kneeling and disrespecting the flag. And it's like, as long as you have those kind of people at the core of your support, like how many people, if we made up the majority of F1's fan base, it would change in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you look at the crowd, look at the Dutch Grand Prix, like, and those motherfuckers are everywhere. Like,
I have this core fear of one day just ending up going to that. That is
we're going Zandvoort next year.
That is so scary.
I feel like we need to go Zandvoort.
Are you okay? You go on your own.
I'm not a like, you know me, Thandie. I'm not someone who's like a clout person. But do you know like the content that me and you in Zandvoort make? Do you know that, like that juxtaposition of me and you in Zandvoort? I just feel like that is money right there.
You guys would be easy to spot.
Yeah,
Trust me. You know what? I might just consider this, Nyasha, because it actually might just be quite a funny experience for me personally. I think I enjoy stuff like that.
I like that. I
get kicks and stuff like that.
And also,
that's also why they don't want you to make political statements. They don't want you to say anything because that's how you change fan bases. That's how you change people's opinions is by seeing people you respect constantly talking about it. And the moment you silence them, it's like then you get your fan base to just be dumb idiots who show up everywhere and spend a lot of money and don't care about they don't care about the world that they live in, and they want athletes and drivers to look like they're not human beings who care about things in the real world that they actually live in when they're not driving for an hour and a half, right? Like you spend more time in the real world than you do in the car, and yet you don't want me to talk about the fact that the world is a fucked up place.
The crazy thing is, F1 is the most global sport in the world. Like it literally, there's no sport that covers more ground, that goes to more countries, more continents than F1. So the fact that you would have participants in that sport who weren't able to shine a light on different things from each country or to speak politically to the people in those countries, whatever. I just find that incredible. Because I tell you now, if someone went on that podium with the Ukraine flag, it would be blessed. It would be blessed. No one would say anything. but it depends on what the political statement is, and you know that's what
the true test would be like if Max had any political spine whatsoever, to see what cause he took up and what they would say about it. That's when you really know.
That would be incredible.
Look, like you've got Daniel Ricciardo openly saying to the TVs that I am not aware of what's going on the planet.
I don't watch the news, bro.
I don't watch the news, so we really don't have a lot of hope. Apart from Lewis.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If once he goes, and we've always said this, and I keep saying we're living through history, because in the same way that Muhammad Ali shone a light on, like, you know, the fact that black people were being drafted for the Vietnam War, and, you know, at the same time there were civil rights issues. And I'm not saying that Lewis Hamilton, what he's doing is on that level, but I'm just saying someone in sport shining a light on political issues where that sport doesn't want them to, like, it is a rare thing. And once Lewis goes, it's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to, we take it for granted. And all I'm saying is we can take it for granted now, and this is the thing. Lewis turns up, he's got his, like, you know, he might say something through his clothing. He will say, like, the reporters, they know every week we're going to ask Lewis, what do you think of this issue in this country? What do you think of this issue in this country? Once he goes, that's gone. Like, the sport is not going to have that. And I'm just saying we need to appreciate what he's doing, because we take it for granted. And once he's gone, that's done. Because Charles Leclerc, ask him, yo, Charles, I don't know if you know, but the president of Hungary has actually recently outlawed like gay marriage. Like, what do you think about that?
I'm stupid.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's not fair, obviously, but you know, I just want to concentrate.
We'll just come back next week and you know, try again, and
that's what it is. But look, anyway, we could talk about it all night. Travon, we've got to get you on for a full race review next season. But what I wanted to say to you, more importantly, are we gonna fuck up Austin next year or not?
Yes, we are.
Travon, are we not gonna fuck up Austin next year or not?
Yeah, we're
coming
next year. Let's do it.
We're coming.
Yeah. So we're gonna fuck up Austin.
We're gonna fuck up Austin.
Yeah.
We might even, like, depending on shit, I feel like I even want to do like back-to-back Austin, Mexico. I'm not even gonna lie, like.
I'll take leave for that. I'm dead serious.
100%. I feel like I want to do.
You know, the world is actually an oyster like that. We could do that.
I really want to do that. But look, we wanna watch an F1 race with you in person.
Yeah, man.
Join, like, let us know.
Yeah, Austin, baby, let's do it.
Yeah,
100%.
Bring your missus. We love your missus. I love your missus. She's so lovely, and we make a day of it. Be fun.
Yeah, you know, I took her to Miami. She was not a fan.
Really? I could see her entire Instagram story was killing me. Like, she dead ass, like, she started in the car and she was like, I do not. Travon taking me to see his little cars again.
Basically. That's pretty much it. She was like, you know what? I don't need the smell of motor oil and loud noise.
No way.
She was just sending me selfies the entire time, and she looked gorgeous, but this was like, I do not know what's going on at all.
She's literally like got the best ticket in the house. Like, literally, like, drivers are walking past, celebrities are walking past. She was just like, nope. I want to go.
She's a celebrity, though. That's the problem. Once you get to that level, you're like, well, I'm just as famous as you guys, to be honest. Yeah.
Right. I don't need to be here.
No, like, for me and Thandie, we're clout horse. We'll take that. Famous people. But no, let's definitely hang out and let's definitely get you off next year. But thank you. And thank you for messaging me that, because I thought, Joanne, you got so much success. I thought you were too big for us, but I appreciate.
Never, man, never.
We broke bread with Travon.
We have. That's
I always say to people, like, people don't realize that a lot of these content creators, like, yes, we do stuff with people, but some people are actually our friends. We actually kind of know them in person. Some people, anyway. Not all of you are my friends. Yeah.
If you've had dinner at my house, then we're friends.
Yeah, yeah. Which is an actual good percentage of people.
Yeah.
That was a good dinner, man. It was a really good dinner.
No, I'm glad. That was Thandie's favorite meal, basically.
Yeah.
That's like, if Thandie was like, what's my favorite meal? I would just cook her that. So you got to experience Thandie's favorite.
Yeah.
But look, thank you so much, everyone. And if you're listening to this, make sure you're watching, subscribing, liking, following us on all social platforms. I think this is going to come out sometime around New Year's. So if it's before New Year's, Happy New Year. If it's after New Year's, Happy New Year. We wish you all the best from all of us at Quickstop F1. And no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Take care. Goodbye. Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quickstop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.